Hey, good afternoon, Lake Stevens Schools, and welcome to the Swimming in Tech Hangout for Monday, March 30th. Let's get right to it. Segment 1, the Google Apps Freestyle. Today, Phil is going to walk you through using the Flubaroo add-on to automatically grade Google Forms quizzes. Go ahead, Phil.
All right, Chad, we'll get started here. So, Flubaroo, probably the strangest name of anything that you will ever use. One of the things I found as I started using these Google things is you can't be embarrassed about the name that you're seeing or you're saying as you talk about these things. But Flubaroo is this awesome tool add-on to a Google spreadsheet that will automatically grade quizzes that you give in a Google form. It will give you these detailed reports, item analysis. It will email the results to the students, and we'll hopefully get a chance to see what that looks like from a student perspective. Things that would take you forever to do, and you can do this in about probably 30 seconds and have it all done. So let's do a quick walkthrough. First of all, I brought up the Flubaroo page, which I have linked on the Swimming in Tech page. So if you click on this link here, it will take you to the Flubaroo page. Everything you ever wanted to know is here. So we're going to go fly through this really fast, knowing that you can come back here and get all the information, all the tutorials, everything that you need to use this totally successfully in your own classroom. So where this all starts? It all starts with making a Google form that is your test. So in this particular case, I've got this little geography quiz here, and I've only got 6 questions on it. First one is, I want to know what their name is. Now, because we know this is in Lake Stevens, I'm also collecting their email address by requiring them to log in and then collecting their username, which is their email address on that one, so that I can email quickly. Then I've just got 5 geography questions. Now imagine that this could be math problems, could be an exit ticket that you know, you do it in Google Forms, but you still spend another 20 minutes or so grading, and then you never really get the information out to the kids in a timely manner. Well, here's a way to do those kinds of things. Quick and dirty formative assessments on that. So here's my quiz. It looks like this when the kids take it. There's my little formatted geography quiz. And I have had all of my students come in and take the test for me on this one. So this is my little test class that I have. And each one of them has completed the form and turned these in. And you'll notice I have this blank column H here. It always throws me off every time. At one point in time, I must have put a question in there and then deleted it, and it still left the column for me. But don't let that throw you off. It doesn't really matter. Flubaroo can handle just about anything. So here's how we use Flubaroo. It is an add-on. And remember, it's not an add-on to the form. It's an add-on to the spreadsheet of responses that the form generates. So as we did last week, we kind of started on showing you how to do an add-on in a Google Doc. Well, it's exactly the same in a Google spreadsheet. You go up to the add-ons menu, go down to add-ons, and in this particular case, you're looking for Flubaroo, and odds are it's going to show up because it's so popular. These are all, the more popular and the more heavily used things are, the more likely they're going to show at the top. But if you don't see it, just do a search for Flubaroo and add it. Click the free button when you see it, and it will automatically install itself into Google Spreadsheets. Remember, it's going to ask you for permissions on a few things, and you'll have to accept as you go through. But once you do that, you will see it on your add-ons menu. Now, the way Flubaroo works is that you have to submit, or at least put in, one row that have the correct answers. So this top row I did with all the correct answers. So we're going to use that one as our answer key. So I'm going to go down to Flubaroo and let's just start grading this assignment. So here's all we do. We go grade assignment. It's going to start working away. And we're going to go step by step. So the first thing is Flubaroo makes its best effort to figure out what each of the columns should be. So in this case, it's done a pretty darn good job because it said that column B, username identifies students, What is your first name question? Well, that identifies students. And then it goes down through, and here's my 5 questions, including this blank one that I left, where I made a mistake and deleted on that one. Now, I don't want that to show anything, so we're just going to skip that one. And remember, I said it can handle anything as you go through. And I could assign up to 5 points per question. We're just going to leave it 1. We don't really, because we just want to get a quick and dirty, what do they know? So I'm going to click continue. It'll think a bit. It's going to come up to step 2. So step 2 says which one of the submissions should be used as the answer key. Now, if you have a student that you know always gets them all right every time, you could just quick check that student before you start Flubaroo running, and if they're all right, use them, or you can just always go ahead and put your own entry in at the beginning. And Flubaroo is reusable. So when you're done with this group of students, you can delete everybody but you. The next kids come in and you can use them as well. So I'm going to say it's my row. That's the answer key. I know those are correct. Click continue. And Flubaroo takes off and it's done. It's that easy. So really, once you know this, you're talking 20 seconds to have this done. What Flubaroo does is and it will give you a little more hints, a few more things you can do, and you just click view grades. What it does is it creates a whole nother worksheet. So here's my student submissions. It doesn't touch that, leaves that totally intact. Creates a whole nother sheet with each of the questions and each of the students. So here's my 5 questions and the students across here, and it shows how they did. Now you'll notice that the first 3, Alicia, Jerry, and Dusty, got less than 70%, which is the magic number that Flubaroo uses. You can change that if you need to. But if under 70%, it's going to red flag those students. Jenna got over 70%, so she's okay on that one. You can do a quick and dirty look. It'll show you questions that a lot of kids have problems with. So only half the kids got Jakarta. No one got the capital of Poland, which is Prague, and 1, so 3 out of 4 missed the Dakar, or however you say that. And so you get a real quick item analysis. So as a teacher, you can look at this spreadsheet and say, whoa, I know exactly where I should be working. If that's not enough for you, you can go back up to our Flubaroo menu and do a few more things. You can get a report if you want to, and it'll give you a little chart. And again, another way to look at some of the issues that you have on that one. I actually find the spreadsheets more useful because it's got more information on it. On that, I'll go back up to the Flubaroo menu one more time. And remember we said we could email those grades to kids? So the minute it's done grading, I can just click here on email the students. It's going to pop up. The only thing it wants to know is where should it find the email address. And remember, back here on student submissions, the username column right there, that's the one that holds the email addresses. And I can say, do I want to include the list of questions? I can give them the answer key, because if it's formative, why not? I can type in a message. Here are the results of today's exit ticket. Let's just say we did that for some reason in our social studies, we did that. Click continue, and that's pretty much it. It will email to each of the students, and I'm going to just try to pull. I think I'm not completely sure that I can get this to show up. Chad, you might have to help me a little bit here and say, are you seeing an email?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so let me go back and do a little sharing magic here. So I'm going to stop sharing this one. I'm going to go share this screen. Okay, now this is Dusty, good old Dusty Rhodes. Everybody knows him. His email. And Chad, does that look good?
Yeah, you got to know.
All right, so here is his email from me about the geography quiz, and here's the email he gets. Imagine how long it would take you to create one of these for each of your students. A color-coded email letting him know the answers he gave, the correct answer. Remember I said put in the answer key, and all the information he needs to maybe get ready, do a little more studying for tomorrow, We could use this as a study sheet if that was what we were trying to do. If it was math, we could go back and redo those problems. But that's the email that the students see. Now let me go back here. We'll reshare my other screen with you. So back on our Flubaroo spreadsheet, when we look in here, again, a few other things is under Flubaroo, there are some advanced options that you can use here. You can auto-grade, so as the students submit, it will automatically send it out. You don't have to wait for you to come and check it. You can set all of that up in advance while it knows. And there's even things for feedback that you can do. So you can give more advanced and more specific student feedback. It's a pretty amazing tool, 100% free. Works with Google Forms and the Google Spreadsheet. The people that use this love it. It can save you a ton of time. But more than that, it's a great communication tool back to your students. And when it comes to be time to go in for your evaluation and you're showing growth, you can show it that way. You can show how you communicated with kids. It's just a great tool, teaching tool. It meets a lot of the things that we're working on. So that's it for that, Chad.
Yeah, awesome tool. Good walkthrough, Phil. Now we're on to segment 2, the Moodle medley, and we'll be talking about the Moodle glossary activity today. Phil, are you seeing my Moodle page?
It is perfect. Yeah.
I tried something different. Okay, great. Thanks. Well, today we'll be talking about a glossary for your Moodle page, and you can see on my Moodle I have 2 glossaries, a math glossary and a science glossary, and they are aptly named because it is a glossary for your Moodle, where students can go in if they've forgotten the definition of a word. They can go in and find the word in the glossary, but it's much more than that. It's not just like a dictionary or a list of words. You can also include multimedia in your definitions and do much, much more. So let me show you an example of the science glossary that you can create as a teacher, or what I love about the glossary is that your students can create the glossary. So you assign a word or a set of words to a student or group of students and have the students input the word, input the definition, maybe include some image to go with the word. And then if you want to go further than that, students can even comment on each other's definitions just by clicking on this comment button, or you can rate each glossary entry on a 0 to 4 scale, so students can receive feedback on how complete and how accurate their glossary entries are. So it's really a great interactive tool. It's a way for students to create the content by creating your course glossary. Now, when you create a course glossary, you also have the option to have your Moodle page auto-link words that are in your glossary to a hyperlink definition. Let me show you what I mean. So I've got cartographer here up on my page, and if I click the gear here to edit this entry, if I scroll down to auto-linking, you have some boxes you can select. This first checkbox, this entry should be automatically linked. I would encourage you to have your students check this box when they create a glossary entry, and I'll show you what that does in just a moment. But these other check boxes, if you don't want it to auto-link when it's doesn't have a capital letter at the beginning of the word, for example, you could click this box saying that this entry is case sensitive. Do not auto-link this word if it's only lowercase letters, but only if the capital letters are in the correct places, and only auto-link when you match the whole word, as a meaning if it shows up as a base word in your Moodle glossary. If you check this box, it would not link just that base word in your Moodle course. So let me show you what happens when you auto-link. So if I save changes for this word, cartographer, now I can go back to my Moodle course. And anytime that glossary word shows up in your Moodle, you might be able to see it's in a little different color, and when I mouse over that, my cursor changes to where there's a question mark there, and if I click on that word, it will now bring up the glossary definition that the student has created with the definition and the picture and the caption to the picture. So you can create live hyperlinks to all of your glossary terms anywhere they're in your Moodle. Now that is pretty powerful. As your students are working in your Moodle and they forget a glossary word, they can just easily click on that link to get the definition. That's pretty powerful.
I just love that tool, Chad. I think glossary is probably the greatest single thing in Moodle, and especially when you get kids doing it like you're talking about, it's just awesome.
Absolutely. So I won't walk you through all the options because you can figure it out on your own, but once you've turned editing on, you'll want to add the glossary as an activity. It is an activity, not a resource, so I'll click here and click glossary. These are pretty self-explanatory, the name and the description. You can put whatever you want in that box. And a couple of your options here, excuse me, you can automatically link glossary entries here. That was the checkbox that I was showing you earlier. If you have this as yes, they will be automatically linked and you don't have to worry about that checkbox. The appearance, there are a number of options here. The display format, you see you have a number of options here, and just by clicking on the question mark, you can get a rundown of the 7 display formats. Now, in my class, I have full with author, but I took the students' names off just for this Hangout. But you have a number of options for displaying your glossary after you have it put together. You can also grade these entries here, as you can do with most of the activities in Moodle. Here you can set some options for how you want the rating scale to work. If you want students to rate each of the entries, you can change the points, the point scale, etc. And these are some other common options that you've seen with other resources and activities in Moodle. But it's very simple to set up. Once you set it up, then you've got a blank glossary here. Once your glossary starts filling with entries, you can select to see all of them by just clicking this All button, or they will group them just by their initial letter, and you can just turn to that particular page by clicking on the letter, or you can set up categories and browse by category. To add a new entry to the glossary, this would be the same for you as an instructor and for your students. You simply click on the Add a New Entry box here, and the concept field, this is the word. The definition field is self-explanatory. You can associate keywords with each glossary entry. You can make attachments. If you want images to go with your word, then you'd put those here in this text box under the definition section. You can use all these image and Moodle media insertion buttons to insert all kinds of media into the definition area. Here, this is the automatic linking button that that you want to make sure that your students are checking if it's not already auto-linked. Then you'll save changes and you'll have your first item in your glossary. Obviously, it's not letting me do that since I haven't supplied a value, so I'll just go back to my class, and there you go. Setting up a Moodle glossary, a great activity for your students, and it can be of great help for them so they can access those links to the definitions at any time in your Moodle course.
You know, Chad, I could never figure out why you would use categories until I saw how you use it. It's like, especially like in a middle school science class, you could take your big chunk, your big units, and make those categories, but still have just one glossary, and everything would link together. That would be kind of cool. I never thought about that. I've never thought it until I saw the way you're doing it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got at the elementary, we have different science units. And so we'll have our water unit or our landforms unit
Yeah.
that way.
And yet they would still have all those scientific words that would appear all the time when they need them. That's
absolutely.
Yeah. I love the media too. Being able to have that visual along with the text really makes.
Oh, the kids absolutely loved that. And I'll keep it going here. Segment 3, diving into search, effectively searching YouTube. This is going to be a quickie, but we're just continuing with showing you how to be a better searcher through all of the Google products. We've talked about just regular Google search and searching your Gmail, searching your Drive, and YouTube as another arm of Google. We've talked a lot about using different search operators within the search box, but the best way to search through YouTube is to use the filters that come up after you insert your initial search. So let's say that you were really excited about what Phil had to share about Flubaroo, so you're ready to learn more. Type in Flubaroo, and you know that they'll have a ton of instructional videos on how to use Flubaroo. 6,730 results. Well, I had never seen this little filters pull down before, and just like in filtering your Gmail or your Google Drive files, you can filter down these videos as well, and these will be very familiar to you if you've used Google Search Filter. You can sort by each of these options, also the upload date, how recent the video is, what type you're looking for. So this would be a quick way to search for a channel. If you're looking for a certain channel, you can click on the channel filter and see if there is a Flubaroo Flubaroo channel. There is a Flubaroo feedback channel. Who knew? I certainly didn't before filters. Just click that X to get rid of that filter. But a lot of times when I'm on YouTube looking for help on a certain tech topic, I don't want to look at those videos that have been uploaded years ago. So I would often check the this year or even this month and see if there are some of the most recent videos that will give me the most up-to-date information, because these tech tools are always being updated, and so you want to make sure that you are seeing these videos from the most recent versions of these tech tools. So just by using filters, you can easily drill down your results. Now we're down to just 204 results of Flubaroo videos released this past month. So filters in YouTube, a quick way to filter down your results and get exactly what you're looking for.
Wow, what an awesome way to tie it together, Chad.
Oh, thank you. And now I'll hand it back to you, Phil. You are up for segment 4. We're going to be talking about MindMup and concept mapping.
Exactly. All right, let me get, there we go. Share my screen correctly. Make sure I get back here. So concept mapping, I think, now I'm not really sure. Some people use it all the time, but it is one of those things, or mind mapping, whatever you want to call that, that I think as a result of some of the focus on writing and reading in the last few years and the way the tests were going, it kind of went out of favor because people didn't see it as a useful thing. I think with Common Core coming back in, mind mapping is going to become a tool that we're really going to want to use with students. And if this actually kind of dovetails in with what Katie Tilley was talking about last week about teaching kids to read more deeply with digital text. So there are really a dozen really good mind mapping tools out there. Over the last year, I've kind of latched onto this one called MindMup. I have no idea why they call it MindMup, but I've done that because it's simple enough that you could use it with third graders, even second graders, but it does enough that high school could slam concept maps out fairly quickly as well. If I was going to go into real depth in a high school class, there were probably some other tools that I might use, and I've linked a page from the Swimming in Tech website to a page that I put together for a workshop I did at NCCE this year. And so the first page is about MindMup. Second page, just using concept mapping. And then on the last page, I linked in some other sites that I've used. Probably my next favorite is MindMeister, but again, that I would say middle school and up is where you might want to start using that and getting serious, because it just has a few more tools on that one. Not all of these will let you log in with your Google account. Poplet is really a cool little mind mapping site, but and somehow, some way, you're going to have an account made on that in order to use it. Plus, it's a paid site, and so you're limited on how many you can do on that. I think you can only have five up at a time. But this is a good site. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one as my jumping off point. It's just mindmup.com. First time you come in here, you're going to have to use your Google account to log in, and then never again. It just pops right there. As long as you are signed into Chrome or you're on your Chromebook, you never really have to worry about this ever again. It's ready to rock and roll for you. So we are sitting here with a blank concept map, and all we need to do to start doing it is just double click, and we're going to think of a topic. And Chad and I have kind of decided, let's use the topic sports, and then Chad, you're going to jump in and we'll brainstorm a real quick and dirty mind concept map. So after sports, let's think of some subtopics we might be able to use there.
Did you just hit enter to get that new bubble?
Good, I did. I just hit enter. Now, I'm going to show you one thing really quick. Let's just stop there, and I'll go here, because I can't, if you use this continually, even once a week, you would remember these keys. But there are shortcut keys. So enter just adds a branch to the topic that you're on. So now, but if you want to, so to go up a level, it's shift enter. To go kind of add a node onto what you're working on, you hit the tab key and shift tab for going back up again. So shift enter, shift tab, and I think those are and tab itself are the big keys. Now, whether I can remember those, I don't know, but we'll try. So I'm going to hit, actually I'll hit tab here, because, so I just pressed the tab key. So what do we know about sports? There's teams, right? On that one. Now I'm going to hit shift enter. Nope, not shift enter. Oh, that's right. You have to hit enter first, and then I'm going to hit shift enter. And that, notice that gives us another node off of our main topic. So I might get cynical here, Chad, so you got to drop things in quick. After teams,
leagues.
And I'm going to go enter and then shift enter again to get another one. How about mascots? We could come up with that. That would be one. Okay, now let's go ahead and build off of here. So if we do think of some mascots, let's see, what's some local ones? Gosh, I don't know. A husky? That would work. And wait.
Blitz for the Seahawks.
Okay, now I'm going to go enter. Notice I hit enter there. So what was it, Chad?
Blitz, the Seahawks mascot.
Oh, that's the Seahawks mascot. Okay, so I go enter and enter.
The Mariner Moose.
Okay. Oh, we better just say moose, huh?
Okay.
How's that? Here's one that drives Chad crazy.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, gosh, some of us graduated from there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, how about leagues? So I'm going to go enter. Oh, I was on the wrong one. Let me go tab here. Okay, tab first. Okay, some leagues. So AFL. I'm not going to. I'll just.
Oh, you're dating yourself, Phil.
Uh-oh. NFL?
Yeah. MLB.
Okay. I know what I'm thinking. I want NBA up there, don't I? So if I go say, NBA. And I remember when there was a team in Seattle. What else do we have? NCAA? That's a league, isn't it?
Yeah, we have MLB, Major League Baseball.
A, that's good enough.
Yep.
Okay, so we got that. How about a few teams? Again, I'm just hitting tab to get started, and then I enter after each one is what I'm hitting. So some teams would be
the Huskies. That's really all that's important. The Huskies.
Which one?
The Huskies. That's
okay.
Yeah.
How about, we always said Husky. Let's say UW.
UW. Okay, gotcha.
And that includes all sorts, right, on that one. So, well, we could, if we're thinking important ones, Northwest, right? Sounders. Somebody was an announcer for that at one time. And okay, so we've got some nodes here, and you can see that I can move these around and kind of resize things. And I can also do some things like, let's say I want all the mascots to be a certain color. So I can come over here, and actually I'll just right-click on them when I think about it, and we go pick a color. So we'll say we want them all to be bright green. So all of our nodes, and I'm just holding the Shift key down and shift-clicking to get more of them selected, or I can come over here, and I can also select color there. I can, under the, in any node, I can add an image in here. Now, and unfortunately, I've got to have a file all ready to go here. We can see if I can find. You probably can't see my file picker, can you, Chad?
No.
Yeah, but I'm going to come in here, and this probably won't make any sense because I'm just going to find a picture. But you can see that I can add an image in there, and I can resize that image as well. And I always have a hard time remembering where that is, but wait, there it is on this one. And so we could say I only want this to be 125 by 125 pixels. So you can teach kids a little math in there too on that. So we can have pictures. And not only that, what's really cool, you can actually, let's just say we want this whole, remember how I had to shift click through here? So I can select that whole subtree as well. And I can, whoops, change, I right clicked, I need to do a regular click on that one. I can just change real quickly that as well on there. So you can make massive changes by selecting whole nodes. Or I can say I just want to select the children. These are called children nodes off of there, and maybe those nodes are a little bit lighter yellow just to separate them from the main ones. The other thing that you know when you're concept mapping, sometimes you want to link different things together. Let's see, we have NFL here. So sometimes maybe we want to link between topics as well and show cross links on this, and that's another powerful piece of concept mapping to try to show how things go together, especially if you're doing this in a science class or a social studies class and you're trying to link concepts together. So one of the things you can do is you can and I always have to figure this one out every time. So we can link between two. So I already had this one selected, and that's not really where I wanted that to go, was it, on that? So let me try that one more time. So I'm going to come here because I can say, there's a link between the NFL and the Seahawks. And had we put the Sounders League, or if we actually NCAA, right? That links with the UW team. So we can click there and say, okay, we want those two to be connected as well. So we can do those cross connections that you do in your concept mapping as well. We could, now the other interesting thing that you can do in here is that you can actually take these and turn them into storyboards as well. It takes a little more work, you have to add some scenes, but that's an interesting idea, and another reason why I'm always drawn to MindMup over a lot of the other ones, because it gives you a way to begin to look at your information in a lot different way as you go through there. And again, you notice I can just scroll around, and as this gets bigger and bigger, I can scroll out to different things as I go through. I could zoom in if I need to. So if it's getting really small and I need to see more, or I want kids to see it up on the board a little better, we could do that on that. Now, the other cool thing is this isn't just you doing it. I remember I used to do a lot of concept mapping back in the day when I was teaching 5th grade. The biggest problem was because what you want is you want kids to be able to use this and work with it. And all we had were cardstock that we would write the words on. And if I wanted kids to have more than one set of words for the whole class, sometimes I'd have to have 4 or 5 kids recording and making sets of brainstorming cards for kids. Well, now we don't have to do that because we can just come up underneath this and we can, let me save this first. Doesn't auto save on that one. You notice it's going to keep it for 6 months for me. And then if I never use it again, it'll go away. But I can share this, got to get to the right place, with students, and watch this. If I click on share this, and I'm going to go ahead and say start, I just have to give it a few little descriptions. I can come in here, and at this point in time, I can send links to people. I could embed this on my Moodle if I want to. I can get this out to kids where they can see this real easily on that. So we could work together as a class, and then and then I could easily publish this and share it out to them to see. The other thing you'll notice that I can also save it to my Google Drive. In this particular case, I didn't choose, so I saved it to the MindMap site. But I could just save it to Google Drive, and at that point, I could add it on to an assignment. So if I had a writing assignment that we had done this brainstorming and mind mapping on, I could save this into my Google Drive, and then just throw that onto my classroom, Google Classroom assignment, and that would just be one more resource that they could use. Or again, I could include that real easily, embed that in my Moodle site. So I've got lots of ways that I can get this out to kids really quickly. And again, that used to be the biggest frustration when you're doing these is not being able to share them out on that. That's really, you've seen most of MindMap, and I don't think that took very long. So you can see that you could get up to speed on this. Your kids could be using this real quickly. It's got some fun things that they could use in here, that they can add in illustrations, they can add color, but it's not so overwhelming that you get lost in the whole mapping process on that one.
So I like that last point about sharing it out. That strikes me as a great solution for writing if students are planning their writing using MindMapper, and they can easily just embed the image of it right into their Google Docs. So not only can they have that right in front of them as they're drafting, but then you as the teacher have their mind map there as you're looking at their final product to see how closely it mirrors their plan.
Exactly. That's a great idea too on that one. And you know, I've been watching some of the 3rd graders as they start in on their Smarter Balance, the ELA task, especially the performance task. I'm really struck with how easily they just start using paper pencil. So I mean, this is a great tool to organize your writing. I use mind maps a lot myself in my own work and my own life. So
lastly, if I could put you on the spot, because I've not used this tool, what is the collaboration like? Is it possible to have a group of 3 students? I see that. Yeah, I see that share button.
You know, Chad, I thought, and oops. Oh, by the way, there's the help on that one. That's what I was coming here for, and you know, I would have to go and see when we share via Google Drive. I have not explored this as well as I should, and you're the second person to ask me this same question. So I need to go find out a little bit more about sharing via Google Drive, because if you shared it, I'm thinking they could open it up in MindMap as well. And let's just
share it with me.
Let's just go ahead and look at this one. Ah, there it is. So there it is. I thought this is where I was missing it. I knew I had seen this. So at this point in time, I can just, does this look familiar to you?
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is. And I could add a note. And Chad, if you want to confirm on
Yeah.
yours, if you wanted to check your email and
Yeah.
just see if you get anything. And because at that point you could also, one person could start, and I'm wondering if you couldn't both work on it at the same time. You could have groups of kids, and especially at the secondary level, kids could go home and be working on these things themselves too. Because really, mind maps are best in teams, I think. I think you get a much better, you get a lot better brainstorming when you can do it in a group rather than just by yourself, at least at the beginning when you're starting. So did you get an email yet?
Okay, yeah, I was quiet over here because I hadn't downloaded it, so I quickly downloaded MindMap and I quickly did my Google authentication, and here we go. You're seeing my screen, and yep, I can edit with you. That's the real kicker.
Can you
now,
add one in? Can you add something in, chat?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Absolutely, right there. Yep.
Now, I don't see that on mine yet, so I'm not really sure how all that works exactly. But I'm definitely going to be exploring this more. Maybe we could do a quick update in another Swimming in Tech on this when we really figure out the sharing on this, because that I'm thinking would be extremely powerful, where we could each work on our on a collaborative mind map. It would be awesome.
Now I just added another sibling to NBA and saved it, but you're not seeing it.
No, don't see it. And let me just try refreshing on this. And yes, I do. Look at that. Look at that. So you see it now? I am definitely. So all I have to. It's not like Google where it does it. On the fly. I just have to refresh every now and again and see what somebody else has done. But we definitely. So if you were sitting at 4 kids at a table working on it, they could easily see each other's changes and be entering it in, and everybody be entering at the same time and building their mind map together. Very powerful.
Yeah, if they're working on a different node.
Yeah.
Cool.
And just all I did was a F5, or I could have clicked the little refresh button or the refresh button on my Chromebook. Any one of those would have gotten that. It took me about 2 seconds, and I was back in again. So really, I honestly think, I do think that Common Core is going to drive us back to using concept mapping a lot more, though. So that's the tool. And again, there are many more. If you go back on the Swimming in Tech site and go to this week's blog entry, you'll find that link back there. And you can look at other ones if you like to. And again, you'll see they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses.
All right. Thanks, Phil. Well, everyone, enjoy your spring break next week. We will be back with our next meet in 2 weeks from today, Monday, April 13th. We'll see you then.
All right.